Okay guys, you can see the photo that we're working on today, a little shed outside of a house, and I have drawn it lightly out on the paper, and you can maybe see I put a little bit of masking, mainly in the white flowers here and here, because those were important, and on the edges of the pots here. And also this is a light area of these pots and flowers against the dark, so that's all the masking that I've used. And then I started with the pattern sketch, which we learned, and putting all the values into 2 values, and this is what I'll be following mainly as we go. So to begin, I'm always going to start with those white areas on my pattern sketch. So anything that is in the light areas are what we're gonna start with. So often I'll start with the sky, and I might just begin to wet it a little bit. And where I want some sky holes, there's sky over here too. And then remember, since this is going to be dark, I could go right over that also. You could also spray it, but I'm just kind of wetting it down and then getting my sky color. And like I said, trying to keep lighter edges and softer edges. Even though we'll be going over dark, it's kind of nice to, it's harder to get those out, so I try to keep them soft. And you know, like I said, that house, you can go right over it, really, because it's going to be darker. So we can kill that right away. And I'll just keep going with those light areas of my pattern sketch. So I'll go right into the foliage on the roof. Which again can blend with the blue. All this is light. And you can add some variations in there, just to get a few extra colors in there. There's some darker greens of the light green in here, and this kind of And I can continue to throw, there are some orange flowers on that. Not sure what the plant is, but you can throw those in too while it's wet so that it blends. You can always make those clear later on, but it's kind of nice to have that fresh color when you begin. So, and then of course we'll balance it out, right? There was this group of really kind of bright orange flowers down here, so that's a good chance to throw those in now. There was a group there. This is kind of towards the focal point area, so I can get some brighter colors in there. Okay, so continuing on with the light areas, I'm gonna get the roof in here, and to me it looks like a little purpley color. So we're gonna put that in, and I'm just trying to not fill it in all the way. Leave those white areas, they will sparkle your painting. And right away, there's a little shadow on this roof, and you could put it in at this point. You may have to darken it later, but it's kind of nice when it blends in. So there was kind of a like I said, I may have to darken that later. And there's also the shadow here from this greenery that you can slowly start to fill in even at this light stage point. And then I'll just continue on down. And it's actually with the medium dark value of this underhang. And then again, right away, while this is still wet, can go right into, there's then a shadow area on the white building. So I'm going to do some of the sky color and bring on down this shadow color. And start to carve out with negative shapes, right? This plant right here. But at this stage of the game, you can blend and then in kind of the shadow area, there's some really dark greenery, and so I'm going to put those in, like I said, just like the roof. You can put them in a little and then you can fix it later, but right along in here there's some really dark greenery, and also up in here a little bit. And that's going right on down and carving out these orange flowers. And so looking at my pattern sketch, I still have to, there's light areas in here in the lawn, so I still have to get those painted in, so that'll be next. And I'm adding a little red to my green. Because up front here, you know, we're gonna want it warmer. It's gonna be warmer, it's gonna have more detail to it. This is also some lawn here. And my strokes are kind of showing perspective, the perspective lines. But the lawn area kind of goes here, and then we'll start throwing in some of the dark areas that were on my sketch. So I can throw those in right now while it's all wet, and if I need to clarify them later, I can do so. And you probably also want to maybe throw a little bit of that orangey red up in there just to balance it out. And I might also throw in some, we're going to get texture because it's near the front. Help to suggest what's there. Normally when I was putting in the sky, I probably would have put some of this greenery in. Just a little bit, kind of like I did here. But because of filming, I'm filming this in stages. So now we're pretty much done with all the light areas, I've pretty much got them covered. So now we're going to go back in with the darks. And I'll start with this house back here. It's kind of a dark yellow house. Well, I mean, it's a yellow house that's in shadow. So I'm going to use a yellow ochre and probably a purple then. I just need to suggest what's back there as I'm carving out this greenery that's here. So everything in shadow, right, is going to be soft edges, no detail. So I'm just kind of suggesting here. Kind of nice, those light blue parts there. And it's got a maroon trim to it. So I'm just going to add in a darker, especially while it's wet, this darker kind of maroonish color. Suggest some detail here, and of course I want that to really stand out because that was my and then there was some grass and some shrubs at the bottom, so we'll just blend that all in. Make this original shadow area that I had made. You see how much darker it has to be once I've got all my other values down. I'm going to suggest that there's grass there. And then like a bush, so. And then I'll come over here and start carving out this real dark. Set some background trees. Include these roof telling shapes, and of course leave your sky holes there. I wanted to mention, using the belly of your brush versus just you know, painting on like that, it just gives it so much more liveliness. Underneath it's darker, so I'm going to add those areas in. So finish up these edges, and I'm going to right away put in these tree trunks that are here while everything is still wet, because they were kind of really nice and telling shapes there. So, you know, there were some going that way that I'm not going to worry about. I liked these in here. And then back here was a little kind of a field, background field. Some background trees. And there was kind of a shadow. And I can carve some of these grasses and things out later. It's easier with a Okay guys, so now I'm working with the dark areas of my pattern sketch. I'm starting to put in all those dark. And if you notice, this has probably been 20 minutes so far on this. It might usually go faster, but you can do all these things that quickly. So now we're thinking of all the This is an orange pot over on this other side. And a bright yellow one down here, which I have to put in later. Can do more of this dark. Can start to define some of these grassy darks. Remember, you want your darks connected without physically being connected. So as long as this line here is somewhat connected, there's a few positive grasses here leading to that dark part. And again, texture. Texture and warmth up front. You could even go with the warmer color here. We're going to put some of our darks in the foliage on the roof here. And this being against the light of the sky, we're going to kind of form those into not a dark, but darker so they can be visible against the sky. And then there's a lot of this green in shadow, so there's kind of some of the foliage is in shadow along with the actual shadow of the foliage on the roof. So I'm gonna first put in some of the foliage shadow. And then right away, come in with that roof. The roof shadow too. So there's some And that shadow that I had originally kind of put in a little stronger now. And some of these roof lines. So hopefully you can see here, guys, how it's starting to take shape. I've now rubbed off all the mask because now it's just a matter of shaping the darks even more. There's some reddish flowers over here. And so you're just kind of now carving out the spaces a little more. Also a pot of flowers here and a yellow pot down below. So I had saved the highlight part but now you're just carving things out more. It seems this bush needs another wash on it. You can help delineate where the wildflowers will be coming up here. And so to better define them, if there is a dark shadow under here, but better define these darks. But basically your painting's painted. You've just got to do the details now. So that's just how quickly, I think it's maybe been 25 minutes roughly that I've gotten this far and basically pretty much done. One of the things I liked was all these little white round flowers, so I'm trying to preserve a lot of that. But yeah, basically it's just details from this point on in finishing. Got these pots. And as I said here, you know, you can scratch it out, the blade, to save those whites there and tell what's going on. There were these white flowers here against the dark as here. But now you're just doing detail work and further down into this grass and getting some shadow from outside here, but and so now I've taken some time and just finished some more details. You know, and the more you add dark slowly, carve these out more. This little pot turned out nice. You can see it comes to life. So, and that was maybe an extra 10-15 minutes on the details and carving out. This is a 1/4 sheet of paper, so that's just how quick you can do it. Thanks, you guys.